Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pen Hut. My name is Tommy. Just wanted to do a really quick video on these pens over here. As you've probably noticed in some of my other recent videos, I'm getting a little bit more into the vintage pens and just trying to see what's out there, get a little bit of experience, a little bit of knowledge on things, and trying it out. And obviously, when you do research and you look at things, you end up buying stuff, which is probably the drawback, but it's also the reward, I guess. So I have these pens here. I know you can't see them. You're going to see which one I want to start with. These are vintage Sheaffer. So I'm actually going to grab all three of them and I'll show you. And these are the Sheaffer Targa, which is really interesting. They're they're relatively thin and they're just straight. And they have the clip there that you recognize with the little white dot on the top. You can see the finial on this one's just black on the bottom there too. And they've got a decent weight to them. These ones are metal body. I like this one a lot because it has that little pattern there, which is really nice. It's kind of like a crosshatch, and then it says. What does it say? Gold electroplated, the little crown, and then it says Sheaffer right on it. And it's nice. So that's one of them. It's this kind of like style, right? It's thin and long, like that. I'll put it back here so you can kind of see more realistically like how thick they are. They're relatively thin. This one also has the black barrel thing there. This one's a slightly more common version. It just has the lines as opposed to the crosshatch on the other one. But this is nice too. Has definitely a little bit of weight to it. Same little clip there. Very similar to the other one. They do have different model numbers though. It does say the same thing. Electroplated Sheaffer USA. Now this is a different one, and I got this from eBay. And honestly, I thought I was getting the regular size, but nope, this is the slim. So if you thought the other ones were thin, this is even thinner. So this will resemble a thin ballpoint in size, but you can see the end there is kind of like a goldenish, and the other side is also goldenish. This one does have the model number on it. So this says Targa 1003 medium. And it actually said $47. So I guess when it came out, it was $47. So the cool thing about the Targas is they're not super old. I think they started out in the like 78, 79 is when they started. And I can't remember right now when they ended, but I think it was about 8 to 10 years that they were out. They were very popular pens because they did have a wide range of you can see they had two different sizes, of course, but they had a very wide range of styles and models. Some were like silver, some were chrome. There's a bunch of really nice and interesting colors out there that you can find, and they're highly collectible, even though they're not super old. They're very collectible because there's so many different variations of them. You can actually, there's a website, I think it's called Sheaffer Targa or Targa Pens or something like that, where a guy talks about his collection and just has a ton of history and information on them, and it's really interesting. And one of my friends actually showed me their pen, and I was like, oh, it's kind of neat. It looked very elegant, and it was this specific model, I believe, but on the regular size one. So I should have that one coming in shortly. We ended up doing a trade. Probably in another week I'll have that one, but that's fine. So actually, let's go into the more exciting part. So like I said, this is the really slim one. It does have some weight to it though. And you're gonna slide off the top here, and because it's very long, this part here, it slides off nice and smoothly, which is nice, and they all snap into place really nicely. This is the other part that's really nice. It has an inlaid nib, which is really nice. So they do come in stainless steel. This is a gold one, which is why I purchased this one. The other one that I have coming in is not gold, but they're all supposed to perform really well. So on this one here, it does say Sheaffer USA 585, and it's 14 karat, which is nice. You can see this is very short, very, very short, but it has a good weight to it. So even holding it like this, it's not super uncomfortable, but it is well balanced. But you kind of feel like, oh, this is a little bit short. So you can actually post it and post quite deeply. So it does make it a regular length. And like I said, these have a decent weight to them. So I would say this one's probably, the whole thing is probably somewhere around 25 grams, something like that. Versus these bigger ones here, actually they're about the same. These are probably about 28 grams as well. But I think that's what I was attracted to in the first place when he showed me his, was that really nice inlaid nib. I wrote with his, and I wrote really smooth, which I like. I like smooth nibs. And I was like, oh, you know what? I should look into these. Yes, I went online and I looked at them, and there are so many different colors. There's some that are special to certain parts of the world that only got a certain types. And if you go on eBay, you'll find these ones and the chrome and the silver colored ones. They're pretty common on there. You'll find that there's a bunch on there. When you do start seeing some with different colors, different patterns, they're a little harder to find, and they'll definitely be a little bit more expensive. Something like these ones here are in the $90 to $100 range, something like that, depending on condition. All three of these are in very good condition, so I like that. But they're unique. You know, I don't see a lot of people talking about them. Most people favor like the Parker 51s, Parker Vacumatics. Even in the Sheaffer line, I think the Sheaffer PFM and the Sheaffer Snorkel, things like that, and the Sheaffer Balance tend to get a little bit more buzz going, but probably because those are older pens and they're very unique in that way. Versus these were made right around when I was born, so they're not very old, but they're right at that cusp where vintage is getting crazy, where vintage is close to like the 80s, early 80s. But you know, in another 10 years, they'll definitely be vintage. But like I said, these are very highly collectible. You can find people online that have dozens of them, different varieties, and they write really well. I've written with two of these. I haven't written with this one yet. I haven't inked it up yet, but I'm sure it's going to perform really well. And yeah, just wanted to showcase that. I'm going to see if I can get a few more here and there. Would love to try to find some of the other interesting colors. They do have like a really nice red, a blue, a green, marble colors, different checkered patterns, different kind of like cross hatching, Sazelle or whatever that pattern is. There's a lot of really neat stuff out there. So these are a little bit bland. I went with something a little bit more classic. And I'm actually not usually a fan of an 8 gold trim at all, but with these, they kind of have that look of, I don't know, something that your grandfather would have, you know, something a little shiny, reminiscent of maybe like a old cross pen or something like that. But to be honest, it doesn't bother me. I think it looks very classy, very elegant, and it's just really nice. So I guess basically I want to know, like, do you guys know much about them? Do you guys use them? Is that something that you would like to hear a little bit more about, like if I get more of them? Or what are your thoughts? I have to say that I really like them. The nibs write really nicely. Oh, one thing that I did want to mention that's really awesome about these, and which will actually make them a little bit more collectible, is that when you pull them apart, these are cartridge. They're cartridge ready, and they also accept a cartridge converter from Sheaffer. So you can pull these out, right? And this one has a this kind of cartridge converter, the old style, where you push it in. But the cool thing is this whole unit here is separate from everything else. So what that means is that I can take this, and let's say this nib is perfect. I can take this whole thing here, slide it in here, and I'm good to go. Because the nib is inlaid, this whole piece up here doesn't come apart really, so it's all one piece. So you can actually, mix and match that however you like, which makes it awesome. So somebody was saying that when you start looking for targas to what's it called, chase the nib basically, and I didn't understand what the heck they were talking about online, but now I get it. Try to find a nib that that is your preference, whether it's gold and whatever size that you want the nib to be, and that it's in really good condition, because they are swappable amongst the same model. So that I thought was really awesome, because like this one rode a little bit better than this one here, the nib that's in it now. So I just swapped them. It was perfect. So I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with these. So I think that just makes them super, super collectible. So you could essentially find a couple pens that have a steel nib, and then maybe find in a really good, attractive body that you really want, and then maybe get something a little bit less expensive that has a gold nib, and you'll be able to put your gold nib into the one that you prefer. So I like that that you can do that. So I don't recall if these are the same size. See, it doesn't say right there. But basically, it gives you a reason to get different size nibs. That way, you can have different options, and you can just put them all in your whatever favorite Targa you have. You can just put that whole nib section into that one, and you're good to go. So I only have 3 right now. I have one more on the way, and it's one of those things that from time to time I'll try to see if I can find some other ones. Try not to spend too much money, of course. And it's probably something that I might be able to find at a pen show. So that's actually very exciting, because I've been noticing that people do have Targa collections to sell at pen shows. So something that I'm going to keep my eye out for, and try to look them up. So definitely take some time, go online if you're interested, and look at the Sheaffer Targas out there. There's some really, really, really interesting looking ones out there that look really amazing. So yeah, let me know if it's something that interests you. If you use them, let me know which ones you have, and I don't know, let me know if this is something that might interest you, or something that maybe you would want to collect. Thanks.